What are some of the hormonal effects of for both men and women from glucose spikes?
Well, first of all, glucose spikes affect your hunger hormones. So if you're having lots of spikes throughout the day, your ghrelin is all over the place, so you're feeling hungry every 90 minutes. If you avoid the spikes, then your ghrelin is much more stable and you're less hungry. And this has been shown in some really cool studies where the breakfast study, they give you either a spiky breakfast or a steady glucose breakfast, same amount of calories, and they measure ghrelin. And they see so clearly that the spikes completely deregulate your hunger hormones. So that's one hormone that is affected. The second big correlation between glucose spikes and hormones is in the case of female hormones. So when we have a lot of glucose spikes in our body, insulin levels rise. And when insulin levels are high, two things happen. Number one, your ovaries produce more testosterone. Number two, the conversion of testosterone into female hormones, which usually takes place all the time, is hampered. So you end up with this overload of testosterone in the body, which can stop ovulation, which can make you have hair on your chin, lose hair on your head. A lot of the symptoms of what we call polycystic ovarian syndrome are actually due to this excess testosterone. But the cool news is, hormones are very responsive. They fluctuate all the time, and you can really change their levels by changing how you eat and how much your glucose levels are spiking or not. So the studies show that if you avoid glucose spikes as a woman with PCOS, you can reduce your testosterone in a few weeks by 25%. A lot of women get their periods back. I get a lot of messages from women who have been trying to conceive, for example, and who have not been able to because of PCOS, who are then able to get their period back and have a baby by using the glucose hacks, which is just amazing. When often, they're told there's nothing they can do. And it's just a condition they're born with and they have to take the pill to regulate. When the pill, all it does is it gives you artificial, external female hormones to compensate for the testosterone that's overflowing in your body.
Wow. How common is PCOS? I
get messages. 1 in 8 women.
1 in 8 women have PCOS.
Yeah.
And it's characterized by high insulin levels?
So some PCOS forms actually are called lean PCOS, and those don't have high insulin levels, but that's a small fraction of them. And those seem to have to do with adrenal dysfunction. But in most cases, PCOS is completely linked to insulin resistance, having too much insulin in the body, mostly due to glucose spikes. And the symptoms vary, women to women, but acne, hair growth, hair loss, period stopping, those are the common ones. Weight gain.
Is there like a genetic predisposition to it that gets triggered, or is it completely sporadic?
I'm sure there is a genetic predisposition to it because, for example, not all women with insulin resistance get PCOS, right? There's probably some sort of terrain happening. Yes, definitely.
Super interesting.
Yeah.
And for guys, what does chronically elevated insulin do in the male body?
I think you probably know better than I do.
Well, I know that a single high glucose bolus can drop testosterone by about 25%, and that persists for 2 hours. I know that it can raise blood pressure because it stimulates a fight or flight response, which is, independent from all of the other things that you've already mentioned about what it does to our hunger levels, our mental health.
Yeah. I remember one study that showed that one of the leading causes of erectile dysfunction in young men seems to be associated with a metabolic cause. So very likely, something having to do with insulin. Yeah.
Yeah. No bueno. So what does your diet look like then? Like what are
mine?
Yeah.
Oh man. Nobody ever asks me that. Well, I guess in the morning I have some leftovers or something with eggs. I have perfected the art of the 2 egg omelets that I make really thin, like a crepe. And then I put stuff in it.
Wait,
like cheese
you have to share. So how do you perfect it?
So I grew up eating crepes. I grew up eating Nutella crepes every morning. So I'm a big crepe aficionado. I know, really great, right? Super healthy.
Crepes I don't know. I'm not I don't think I've ever actually had like a real crepe, but
What?
yeah. Because I avoid.
I will change that.
Yeah. Are they just made of?
I have to make you a crepe.
Is it just egg? Is that
No,
all it is? Oh.
It's no egg. It's flour, butter, and milk.
Yeah, I don't really do the flour stuff very often.
Oh, come on.
But,
I'll make you one. You have to try it.
Okay, deal. Deal.
If the glucose goddess makes you a Nutella crepe, you have to eat it.
You have to eat it. You're right. Fair. Okay, so you grew up eating crepes.
Yes. And I was always super hungry at 11 a.m. and I thought it was normal. Turns out it was my glucose. So how do you make my new and improved egg crepe? Crack 2 eggs in a bowl, whisk them, get yourself a kind of flat and big pan, butter in the pan, pour the eggs in, make sure the egg mixture goes all around the pan. So it's like a circle. And then literally, I mean, that's it. You don't even have to flip it because it's so thin. Put it on your plate, put some feta, tomatoes, avocado, hot sauce, like whatever, spinach, whatever you have. You fold it in half. Ta-da. It takes 2 seconds to make. And it's my go-to breakfast.
Sounds amazing. You got to be using some kind of like non-stick pan to do that, right? I mean,
yeah. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that bad?
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking about doing it in my cast iron pan, and so I'm like, that's not going to work.
With a lot of butter, it will work.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, try it out. Let me know.
So eggs are A-okay by the glucose goddess.
Yeah, eggs are okay. I mean, for a long time, we thought that when you eat cholesterol, that creates heart disease issues. Now we know that so many things about that statement are not correct. Cholesterol levels are not a good indicator of heart disease. Half of the people who have a heart attack have normal levels of cholesterol. And then we realized, I love how science is always evolving. Then we realized that when you eat cholesterol, it doesn't make cholesterol in your body. So, all in all, now the studies show that if you put people who have type 2 diabetes, you switch them from an oat breakfast to an egg-based breakfast, their heart disease markers go down and their type 2 diabetes goes into remission more or less. So it's pretty clear that eggs are fine now.
Eggs are totally fine. Yeah, I love them.
Hey, if you like that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.